What's up, everyone? We're your host, Grant Cohn, Kev Mitchell, also known as Silverado Kev, because he's got a nice Silverado where he often streams from. Today, he's looking like he's in the man cave. How you
My
doing?
bedroom, but yeah, I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So I don't have. We got about 45 minutes because the Niners start practice in 2 hours, and I got to get down to the South Bay. So let's not waste any time. Let's talk about where the. This is week 9 of a. Am I right? It's week 9 of an 18-week season. A little bit like right approaching the halfway point. So let's sort of take stock of where the Niners are. Let's start a little bit by doing some hindsight, courtesy of Joe Montana, the GOAT. Came out this week and said he would have drafted Mac Jones, and that's what the Niners should have done. What's your instant reaction to that?
Man, all due respect to the Hall of Famer, Joe Montana, you know what I'm talking about? He's old school, you know what I'm saying? You know, he's the traditional drop back, passer, you know what I'm saying? So apparently he feels like that was a better option in terms of a pocket passer. I mean, but come on, man. You know, times have changed. You feel me? So, I mean, but that's his opinion. You know, like I always tell people on Twitter, just because we don't agree don't mean we're enemies. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that was his choice. It didn't happen. So, you know, hey, it is what it is.
Let me tell you my take real quick. It's easy for him to say that now. Where was he before the draft? I interviewed him before the draft on this channel, and he said the Niners need to get they need to draft someone. He didn't say who. He could have said at that point, the person who said it, I interviewed this guy, and he was adamant that the Niners should take, after they had drafted the 3, that the best option for them was Mac Jones. Not that that's the right answer, but you have to say this beforehand. The person who said it beforehand was Jim Mora Jr. And I'm not saying that Mac Jones will end up being the right pick, but he's the one who said it beforehand. I respect that. Joe says it now. To me, that's a guy trying to just kind of be in the headline cycle. Like, you know,
I mean, and stir the pot. I mean, but also, man, I mean, based upon what you've seen from both quarterbacks right now, you really can't even assess Trey Lance because he had one game where he was used like Derrick Henry. I mean, so you really can't even fully assess his game right now. So whatever, man. I mean, it is what it is.
I feel bad for Trey Lance again. It's really hard to be a quarterback of the 49ers. He got drafted into a team with a head coach where we don't really know how excited he is to coach him. And now you have the greatest player in franchise history and the greatest quarterback of all times already writing you off, saying they should have went with Mac Jones. He hasn't even turned 22 yet. He hasn't even played 7 quarters yet. I feel bad.
Motivation, man. Motivation.
I know. Didn't Alex Smith say something like when he was young and he was struggling, Jerry Rice came out and said they needed to go to David Carr or something. I don't know who it was, but he said, you know, it's really hard when you're a young quarterback for the 49ers and one of the greats comes out and writes you off. It's really hard. You can't ignore it.
I mean, but he was young and playing. You see, Trey Lance young and holding the clipboard.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So
true. Anyway, Joe, not helpful. Not helpful.
At all.
Again, if you had said this before the draft, I'd give you credit, but that's Jim Moore Jr. who did that. Now, Joe, this is just seems like he's trying to, you know, get some publicity at the 49ers expense, at Trey Lance's expense. So
agreed.
Oh well. Maybe he's right though. I don't think he is. Let's talk about this last game. How meaningful was this last win for Shanahan and Garoppolo?
Well, like we discussed briefly, and I've told everybody who was listening with their ears, I love the fact that we won. I love the fact that Jimmy looked better than he has, but it was Chicago, you know. It was on the road. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing our thing on the road. So my thing is, do that against a better team. You see what I'm saying? I'm not to slight that it was Chicago, but I'm like, it was one game. Yes, we were one game close to 500, but do it against better competition. And to be honest, that's what Jimmy looks like when Jimmy's on. You know, like we discussed to the point of nauseum, it's that good Jimmy versus bad Jimmy dichotomy. You know, and personally, I don't like the cycle. You know what I'm saying? Somebody put out a little tweet with a little meme where it's like a little cycle thing. Vince Jimmy, he plays well, he's back. I mean, I'm tired of that cycle, man. So again, you ask me, let's just say Jimmy is renting a room from Kyle. Jimmy done went from a lease to a month to month.
Okay.
You know, game to game, pretty much.
I would agree.
You know, and
I would agree.
And where it is, he almost got benched last game. So it's true.
So, I mean, He was real close to going into halftime with 6 points, down 7. Anything could happen at that point. So look, I think a lot of people are going back and saying this win was big for the head coach and the quarterback. And it was in the sense that had they lost, they would have taken a lot of heat, both of them.
Right.
Especially Kyle. Like Kyle might have gotten fired, Jimmy might have gotten benched. It would have been that bad. So it was good for them. But to me, it was much more meaningful for Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell. You never really praise the wide receiver and running back because it always comes back to the quarterback and head coach, and Kyle gets ultimate credit and all this stuff. But come on. That game was about Deebo and Elijah Mitchell more than anything.
And they both balled out. And the biggest thing from it is we won. So winning, they say winning cures everything. And when winning feels good, you know what I'm saying? So we back winning again.
Because think about how bad losing that game would have felt. It would have been catastrophic. Yeah. Terrible. So meaningful in the sense that losing would have been very bad, but I just want to focus on Deebo and Elijah Mitchell for a second because they saved the season. Man. Every time Elijah Mitchell got a toss to the left, he got like 30 yards, and he essentially iced the game at the end, putting him in field goal range, and then Deebo flipped the whole game. They might have lost had Deebo not made that one play.
Yeah, Deebo, that Deebo screen pass, that
legendary.
Two plays he made to save Jimmy's season was the bomb down the right hash, which just for the record, I had to make sure that was Jimmy. I'm like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Okay.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
And it was pretty much, on time, right in the breadbasket. And then that long screen pass by Deebo saved him too, or saved us. So hey man, keep balling.
Absolutely. I mean, if this season goes on to be anything, like the Niners get their stuff together, go on a little winning streak, make playoffs, make some noise, you'll go back to that play by Deebo as the turning point of the season or the beginning of the season, the beginning of the run. Also, he did it with an injured calf, and he re-aggravated the calf. So he really, really did a lot for the 49ers. They needed to win that game. It was must win. They wouldn't have won it without Deebo. He played. He got injured again. We'll see if he practices today.
I agree, but my biggest takeaway from that and the plays he made in that game, he showed that he is and always has been an all-around receiver. He can run the whole route tree. I mean, he has drops here and there, but he can definitely run the whole route tree. He's not just gadget player that he's been made out to be.
No, he's not. But he is. He was the offensive player of the week, right, in the NFC.
Right. The FedEx,
and he dropped his first 2 targets. Classic Deebo. Drops his first 2 targets on the first drive. Comes back and wins the game for them. Carries the team. Him and Elijah.
You're not counting that screen pass to him, are you? Because that was terrible. Jimmy, how you blow a screen pass?
True. No, I think I'm not exactly sure. I don't exactly remember which ones they were, but he definitely started the game not great, and then was the MVP. He was the offensive player of the week. Anyway, Deebo, what an asset. Elijah Mitchell. Can we just say Elijah Mitchell? So important to this team because they're not a pass first team, and just having Deebo and Kittle. They need to have a running back like Mostert, and they're starting to get one. It's really important. Now he's hurt.
I'm telling you.
We'll see. Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell, man, not only does he share my last name, but the boy is a baller. You know what I'm saying? I love it. Good. Feed him. Now, I would like to see other backs mixed in, to kind of lessen his load. Just don't burn him out. Yeah. But yes, the boy is balling.
Every time he has a good game, it seems like he gets beat up a little bit. So they gotta mix someone else in. I don't know, Trey Sermon.
Anyway. I'm sorry. That guy.
Jeff Wilson Jr. will be the guy who gets mixed in. Let's be frank. It's going to be Jeff Wilson Jr. And I love Jeff Wilson Jr. Let's see what he's got coming back from this meniscus or whatever it was. All right, Garoppolo. He won. He scored 2 times. No turnovers. 320-something yards. Did he earn more time as QB1 of the 49ers?
Yes, for another week.
That's the way I look at it, too.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
week to week.
He's no longer on the lease. He's on a week-to-week basis. You see what I'm saying? Right. So we'll see what he does, man. He started slow again, and that's the problem, man. I mean,
starts slow every time.
What's my man name? There's a Damon Root for 95.7 a game.
Yeah.
I comment on what he said about he'd rather lose with Trey than win with Jimmy. I don't agree with that. I would rather struggle with Trey than struggle with Jimmy. But and I see what he was saying, but I'm just not going to take L's willingly.
No, because what he said assumes that Jimmy gives the Niners a better chance to win right now than Trey, and I don't think there's enough evidence to really say that.
Right.
They play the position differently, but Trey, I seem like they have less 3 and outs with Trey on the field. But again, he hasn't even played that much.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So,
he's earned another week. He's one error away of, hey, man, and I don't know what was said last week on the sideline, but I'm going to paraphrase. If I'm Kyle, I'm going to say, bro, you don't really want to have me bench you in front of your family, do you? If not, get it together.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to me that as soon as he lost at home to the Colts, he was on his job was on life support. He was week to week. And when he was down 7 with the ball at the end of the first half, he needed to get points and go into the halftime on a positive note. You're not going to bench him coming off that drive with the 50-yard throw. He did a good job. But again, if he's down 7 this week coming off a 3 and out at the end of the first half, all bets are off. I do think he needs to – it's not easy to bench him, but he has to keep making it not easy. And it would be easy if he's down 7 at halftime.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he has another slow start. Like he's had, 5 games in a row or whatever?
And not to mention, this is the much better Cardinals defense. You know what I'm saying? So
much better.
Even
they won't have JJ Watt, but they will have Byron Murphy, who didn't play in the last game. They'll still have a bunch of really good players. So, yeah, another slow start. I don't know. Kyler Murray might play. So,
you know what? I heard that, man, but I don't know if he's going to risk the rest of his season for one game. I know it's a divisional game, but hey, come out there on one leg you want to, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. That's true. All right. Do you think the run defense is a major concern? It's currently ranked 27th in yards allowed, meaning 27th. 7th most.
As we say in the Bay, hella. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, even Chicago, the rookie. What's the run?
Khalil Herbert looked good. Khalil Herbert. Yep.
Ryan Sherbert. He was killing us. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on. And I don't know if it's Kinlaw being out. That's the issue. But they need to get this together, too. You know, like, where's that?
I thought it was the ends as well as the tackles getting moved around.
Yes. And see, that's something else, man. Even Nick Bosa and all his greatness.
Thank you.
He still bites on the run too often. I see all our ends do. And me as DC, it kills me. I'm like, why are you worrying about B gap when you outside shoulder, C gap, outside contain? That's your job. Do it. You know what I'm saying? So, but and most of his big runs, Herbert were to the left.
That's what I'm saying, and I think they were catching Bosa kind of peeking inside, as you said. Yeah, like dude, they're kind of just letting you run yourself out of the play. You know, with like a crack tag block or whatever, something to just kind of move you inside. Yeah,
it's definitely a concern, and I would like to see from one DC to another. Some D'Amico Ryans, if we see this, just sit down, mix it up. You know, figure out your rush lanes, your gap integrity, and at the end of the day, step up. It's the players step up. You see what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and let's fix it, man. Fix it.
I think the evidence that it's a big deal, that it's a major concern, is the fact that the Niners made one move before the trade deadline, and it was trading for a guy who really is going to improve their run defense. Charles, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Omenihu?
What you said? That'll work.
I'm not sure yet. We'll find out when he. We'll find out this weekend. But I'm not sure yet. Anyway, he should really improve the run defense, and it seemed like they identified that as something that is just not good enough, and something that they can fix with a future late rounder. It didn't cost them much.
Right. Well, I like the move because he's versatile, inside, outside. He's big guy, 6'5", like 280, something like that. Yeah. And he's aggressive. I watch some of his tape. He can go from looking for the run or looking for the pass to playing run, just like that. So and also, and the best thing I like about it, hopefully now Armstead can stay inside versus outside. I'd rather have Armstead in the middle. But if he's stopping to run like that, switch it up. I mean, you got enough bodies.
Right, because you have Nick Bosa and you got Samson Ebukam setting the edge, but after them, do you trust Arden Key? Who you got? Because you can't; those two can't play D end every snap. Right. And after them, it's like Jordan Willis, Arden Key. Maybe those guys will really get moved around in the run game. So this guy should help. You got
to do something.
If you got to do something, it can't be worse.
And Fields had 100-some-odd yards. I'm like, hey man, listen. That was
in retrospect, we maybe should have expected this because it seems like every coach who runs wide nine struggles against the run, except for Saleh. Saleh's always been good at stopping the run, and he's gone. So I don't know. This is on D'Amico. It's always tough to me. I don't understand how Saleh pulled it off, being good against the run using a wide nine. It's kind of hard. It's kind of gimmicky. But
Well, that wide nine, bro. Like as a DC myself, you can't run a wide nine every damn down because
no,
it's too much space inside. You know what I'm
way
saying?
too much.
So I mean, yeah, frustrates me.
D'Amico, you got some things to figure out. Let's go back to the
Yeah.
offense. Have Deebo and Aiyuk arrived as the tandem the Niners envisioned they'd be?
One more time, run it back. Hella, I love it. You
Hell,
know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
I'm telling you, I liked more from Ayuk than I did from Deebo, only because finally Ayuk is in the mix.
Yes.
And Jimmy found him a couple times last game. And I'm like, okay, now we doing something. Kyle, let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Kyle dialed it up. Jimmy made the throws. Now let's just see how consistent that's going to be. But yes, they showed versus Chicago, that they were a great one-two tandem, and all over the field. I would like to see that spray chart of his
Yeah.
passes on
Yeah.
Sunday.
I want to say something about Aiyuk. I mean, Deebo is certainly arrived. Now he's gonna if his calf stays healthy, he's gonna carry the team pretty far, and he's gonna have great numbers. But Aiyuk, I want to say something. I really like the way he returns punts. He's really still a good player, but I do think that he's slower than he was last year, and I'm not exactly sure why. But it might be just that he put on 5-10 pounds of
I was going
muscle.
to say, yeah, he gained
He
a little
might have.
weight.
And I think in the offseason, he should go back to his body type from his rookie year because he was. I think he was faster. Like for example, they tried to get him that deep target early in the game. They got him matched up on a safety, and he really didn't pull away from him. And the pass was incomplete. There wasn't a. He should. I think last year he would have pulled away, and this year he didn't. And I'd just like to see next year Aiyuk get a little bit of that speed back. He's still a good player though. Still a good player.
Now, I do want to say something to give him credit because I forgot what play it was, but he ran clear across the field to make a block for Mitchell.
Yes,
I
he
forgot
did.
what play it was.
He played
And
his ass off.
he looked fast
He
on that
played
play.
with great effort.
I'm saying, yeah. So,
But I do see the Niners being like, man, he's a step slower than he was last year. Okay, well, that's not something you're going to fix now.
Man. Right.
That's
man.
not something you're going to fix now. That's next year you can work on in the offseason with his body type. But he's still one of your better players.
Exactly.
Good possession receiver. He got that 2-point conversion.
Yeah. And hey, he smoked the DB too.
Yeah.
hit him with the go that way. And he went. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah. So, Deebo, yes. Aiyuk in the process. All right.
Right.
Odell Beckham Jr. has basically gotten himself. He's pulled a Antonio Brown. I don't want to be here anymore. And now he's not. He's not in Cleveland. And he could get waived. He could clear waivers.
Did they release him?
No, but he could. They're not like
Okay.
he's not coming to practice anymore. And people are trying to figure out, well, what are they going to waive him? If he gets waived, would anyone even pick him up? He's expensive. It's possible he clears.
That's crazy,
waivers.
Man.
So let's say let's say he clears waivers and the Niners could call him up and be like, look, we're interested at a price. Would you be willing to come over here at this price? And maybe Odell Beckham loves Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo. Who knows? Funny things have happened. What are the pros and cons of the Niners going into business with Odell Beckham Jr., in your opinion?
Well, before I address that, I do want to say, if you think about it, outside of Deebo and Aiyuk, there really hasn't been a receiver that's really done anything. I mean,
and that includes Kittle, man. He's really been out since the beginning. He's been hurt.
So, and that'll definitely give us another option. You know what I'm saying? In terms of if and when Kittle gets hurt, because he will, unfortunately.
I mean, you saw what Emmanuel Sanders did for this offense. This guy's better than Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah.
And so you give me Aiyuk, Deebo, and Beckham. Hey, rock with it. And before people say about his attitude or he's a cancer, I'm pretty sure once he gets here that like John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, they're not gonna have that. Because look, and I'm sure he's heard about Kyle's doghouse, so he don't want to be it. You see what I'm saying? So I would think he get his act together, but he would definitely help the team in the event for the full player price, for the right price. I mean, I definitely go ahead and give him a look. I don't think it's gonna happen though, but.
All right, here, let me do the cons in. It seems to me that he's not happy unless he gets a lot of targets. And you could argue that he deserves them. I mean, you could argue he deserves them. His dad just put together that video of him being open all the time. Okay, fine. But if you go into business with Odell, you have to be committed to keeping him happy, which means giving him the ball a lot. And that would come at the expense of Deebo Samuel right now. Deebo's getting a ton of targets, and maybe he should get fewer because he's got a calf injury right now. But I don't know. Like, would you be comfortable with Odell being the top target, like moving Deebo into a secondary role and moving Kittle into a third banana role? because I think that's what's necessary when you have Odell on your team. You can't play him like the number 2 or 3 guy, which is what Cleveland did. He'd rather not be on that team because they were winning. I mean, they're essentially a good team. And he's like, I don't want to play for this team. So the Niners aren't even winning. They would have to be committed to really giving him the ball a lot. And would that be cool with Deebo, who hasn't gotten paid yet? I don't know, man. There's a lot of egos on the 49ers right now. And Odell has a bigger one. It's complicated.
I thought about something as you were talking, man. Like,
okay,
I don't know. What if Odell was like, hey, I'll come over along with Jimmy ain't the starter. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because think about it. You know, Jimmy struggles. You know, Lemmy. I like to call him Lemmy G. Shout out Panama Queen. You know, so it's going to be an issue. But I will say this, though. It is possible to have 3 playmakers at your receivers and have a real good balanced attack, a la the Cardinals.
Kyler Murray, you're absolutely right. You spread the ball around, and it helps everyone out. Kittle's injured, Deebo's injured. Spread the ball around.
Exactly. So
I guess I just thought of something, man. Because you brought that up. So I don't think Odell Beckham would have like an opinion on Trey Lance at this time. Hasn't seen him very much, but he'd be the kind of guy. If they lost one game, he'd say he might say something. Hey, well, I really like this kid at quarterback. He would be the one to.
Hey, but you know what? Teams need that. Teams need a vet to say, "Hey, man, look, we suck right now." You know what I'm saying? Like,
you got to play the kid.
You need to get. I mean, let's go. I'm saying
you guys are stuck in 2019.
Right. So I mean, who knows, man? I don't think it's gonna happen. You know, but if he came over, would I embrace it? Yeah, of course. He's another threat.
That's the thing. Like a large part of me says it's a bad idea. It won't work. But the other part of me is like, I don't know, man. Shake it up. This locker room needs something different. And I shake it up, man. Why not? I don't. So anyway, I'm glad we did the pros and cons. I haven't decided what's the right thing to do, but this team is so stuck in the past. A big move like this to bring in someone to think about the future that wasn't connected to that Super Bowl loss could help. Could help.
I'm just like, that might be the one.
I don't know if he's the right guy, but it might be. It might be.
I mean, who else out there, though?
That's right. He's the guy right now. All right, last topic. Looking forward, the Niners were 2-4, and then they went up against a really banged up, bad Bears team. And now they may get another break this week. That's why the NFL is so interesting, and you really can't just predict what's going to happen like you can in like basketball. You really have to see it play out week to week and see which guys get hurt. How are you looking at the near future for the 49ers in terms of what they're facing from their opponents?
Well, we already know, and I touched on this when I was in the Silverado yesterday or the other day. He may potentially face the Cardinals with no Kyler Murray, the Cardinals with no J.J. Watt. He may potentially face the Titans with no Derrick Henry, the Vikings with no Daniil Hunter, maybe the Seahawks with no Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson might go out there on one leg if he need to. So
he might.
I mean, but this is just
9 fingers. Yeah.
So, he has some, or whoever the quarterback is, definitely has some pluses on the upcoming matchups. I mean, so do it against the Cardinals, man. I want to see that same performance against the Cardinals. You see what I'm saying? And I will give Kyle some credit. His play calling, I had to make sure it was him calling the plays on Sunday. Like that 4 receiver said we saw. I was like, yo, where'd that come from? Run that more.
That's right.
So I want to see it Sunday, man. I want to see it Sunday. And the schedule already, in terms of the teams we're playing, was already favorable. But now with all these injuries, is I mean, now some other team feeling our pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, I was starting to think the Niners were the only team that had these problems, and then, I mean, the Cardinals are kind of going up in smoke, which is what a lot of people said about them when I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. People were like, oh, really? AJ Green, JJ Watt, they're going to make it to the season? I was like, yeah, well, no. And even Kyler, this is the thing about Kyler. When he's healthy, he's as good as any quarterback in the league. But he's now gotten hurt 2 years in a row, and he's little. And it's hard to expect him to make it through the year unscathed like, Josh Allen does. Right, Patrick Mahomes does. Absolutely. So the Niners definitely this is a good time to face the Cardinals.
Exactly.
Even if Kyler plays.
And a great time to go 4-4. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a great time to get back to 500.
Right. And we don't know what's going to happen to the Rams. They got to play a game this week. We'll see what the Rams can bring to the 49ers the week after. We'll see.
Right.
I mean, Matthew Stafford tends to get dinged up once a year that he plays through it. But I'm just saying, these things happen.
Honestly, on defense for us, Grant, if we go ahead and shore up that run defense for one, and stop giving away yards and DPI calls, other than that, the defense is playing okay. You see, other than the DPI calls and getting cut up in the run game. I know that's two big things, but those are two things you can
and the lack
on.
of turnovers. I'll put 3 on that one. Lack of turnovers.
Okay, I'm glad you said that too. Yes, we have a lack of turnovers, but like I asked the other day on the Real Talk podcast, my thing is I asked the question: what's in terms of points in a game flow? There's one thing better than points, and maybe I asked the question it was kind of obscure, but I'm just giving you the answer to my question. The only thing better than points is points off turnovers. That's the only thing better than points is points off turnovers. Because if you don't, you end up getting bitten.
Spoken like a true defensive coordinator. Like, don't waste time.
For real, I'm telling you.
We just hooked you up. Do something.
I've been there.
Do something. And it better not be
how
free.
frustrating it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a good call. Anything else on your mind for this weekend?
I just want Jimmy, man, all that confidence he had last week. I don't care who the opponent is. If you're gonna be out there and play like that. You know, I mean, like I said, I really don't want to write another good Jimmy versus bad Jimmy article. I don't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't. Of course. You know, so I mean, just hey man, go out there and do your thing. You know, he had 2 rushing TDs. Of course, it was Chicago, but still, you know, Grant, did you see? He just seemed more like he took a shot at Moxie at halftime.
You know what the Moxie was? Oh, I'm not going to get hit today. I'm not going to get hit today. That's Jimmy when he realizes that his offensive line is playing well and the other team has no pass rush, comes out looking like Aaron Rodgers. It's like, oh, I'm gonna hold the ball, I'm gonna make some off schedule plays. Yeah, absolutely, man. But when you get hit a few times in the first quarter, jittery G comes out. He does.
Jittery G, I like that
because he knows that he really can't protect himself on a football field. He's gotten hurt a lot of times, including just a few weeks ago. So he got into the flow of that game. Was like, oh, I'm not getting touched today. We got this. So that's good. But we'll see if the Niners can do the same thing against the Cardinals. We'll see. And then the Rams the week after that. Aaron Donald, Von Miller. It's going to be, the Niners really lucked out that they didn't have to face Khalil Mack. Really lucked out.
Yes. Yes. So
I know. But they won.
So we're going to see. What you going to do, Jittery? What you going to do?
Yeah, that's right. And there's more things, too. The Niners are in an interesting spot where every game kind of feels must win. And so you got to use Deebo, Kittle, and Elijah Mitchell as much as possible, but they're all injured. And ideally, if they were, 5-2 instead of 3-4, you'd be really dialing back their usage because it's a long season. So it's like, what is the balance there? What is too much and what is not enough? Because if you really dial it back, you could lose a game that you should win. Like, for example, week, was it 5 when they lost to Arizona? Elijah Mitchell had 9 carries. That, in retrospect, that looks like a misuse of talent. Maybe if you give him 14 carries, you win or something like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. What do you do there?
It don't look like it is.
Way to use them.
It's funny, man. I actually spoke to via text. I talked to Hasty Father this morning. Just texting one back and forth. I had a few questions for him, but Hasty, use him differently. Use him better. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, we running with Hasty on third or in short yardage.
Yeah,
you're smart.
Yeah, he's just the third down back. Mix him in on first and second down, and also mix in Jeff Wilson Jr.
Because he can boogie too. I like Hasty. You know what I'm saying he had a nice little catch over the middle. But he made a nice catch and got a good chunk of yardage. So
he's explosive to the perimeter. If you want to run those toss plays, he can run those on first and second down.
Use them better, exactly. Use them better. And this way, I don't know how you feel about Sermon, but don't just use up Mitchell like that. Yeah, I know he's getting you yards and all that, but preserve him a little bit. He got backs up. They're sitting right there. Sermon right there. Hasty right there, but just not on short yardage.
The Niners were always so careful with Raheem Mostert. They gave him 29 carries in the NFC Championship game, but other than that, it was usually like 10. Off the bench, 10 carries, you're fragile. Elijah Mitchell, since the day he started, the first day in the NFL, dude, we got to give you 18, man. Like, what? He's only 200 pounds. He gets beat up. He's very violent. He runs hard. He's not avoiding hits. He's getting nice. He's had a shoulder injury, a rib injury. Come on, man. Mix it up. You got other guys who are good. Mix it up.
Well, Jeff Wilson coming back soon, too, so hopefully, that'll help as well.
Really important. It's interesting the Niners are getting healthier. Gold coming back, Kittle coming back. Maybe this season they could actually finish strong as opposed to 2019 where they came out 8-0. That's what happened in 2019. They started strong in
Now, how you start is how you
and
finish. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
how you finish. Okay, so you started 2-4, but I don't know. I just not necessarily confident that Deebo, Kittle, Mitchell make it through the year. That's what I'm trying to say here. Like Deebo really extended himself to beat the Bears. What was the consequence of that?
You spread the use out. You spread the use out. They'll be a lot better off.
They got to. Yeah.
And this is my mindset, and I also said this on Twitter as well. Moving forward, if it's me as the DC or Kyle, whoever it is, I'm like, look, man, we got 9 more one-game single elimination games. That's the way you got to see it. Every game is a playoff game. You got to see it that way, bro. You have to. You got to get in your head. We lose, we're going home. I mean, I know it's not.
And I think that mentality goes over to the coaching staff, and it's why Deebo's getting the ball so much and Mitchell's getting the ball so much. It's like, yeah, I mean, we could give the ball to Trey Sermon, but frankly, we don't trust him. And there's way too much at stake right now. I think that's probably what he would say, Kyle, if he was being honest.
Well, now let's be honest about Deebo right quick in terms of him getting the ball. That's if Kittle wasn't there, it'd be Kittle too. So Deebo, Jimmy really only trusts Deebo. So that's why he gets the ball.
That is true.
The game is a coach. I was there in that damn monsoon, and I watched it with my own 2 eyes. Deebo triple covered, and he's still trying to get the ball to Deebo. I'm like, man, come on, man, find somebody else. So I'm not saying that what Deebo has been doing isn't great, because it is, but they're going to him so much because that's where Jimmy goes. But that screen pass was for him. But Jimmy looked for 19 before he broke the huddle.
What a coincidence that Jimmy, Kittle, and Deebo all have the same injury. All of them. It's the calf. It's the year of the calf injury.
You know what? Yeah,
they all do. Last year was the year of the high ankle sprain. This year, it's the year of the calf injury. And as teams don't really say it, but when they say calf injury, that means calf/Achilles. It's scary. It's very scary for players. They're connected, and if it's sore there, it's probably sore a little bit on the top of your Achilles too. And that's why players are like, I don't know, like, is this about to go? And if you're George Kittle and you're 250 pounds, you're scared about that. I'm almost 30. This hurts. If I push this too hard, am I going to wind up like Richard Sherman did at the end of his 20s? So this is really serious. These are cornerstone players. Well, not Jimmy, but the other 2 are cornerstone players for the 49ers. And while this is week-to-week must-win games, you also have to consider the future too. I mean, unless you don't see Deebo and Kittle as parts of your futures, but they're also assets, right? If they're not guys, you already committed to Kittle. This is your future. I don't know. You got to think about it. It's got to be part of the
way to reduce the wear and tear. Like I said,
as soon as Deebo's calf goes, the season's over, man. It's over.
Yeah. And like I said, man, I know it's a division opponent, but look at the Cardinals and the way they go ahead and spread the ball out. I mean, come on, man, just spread it out.
Yeah. It says, do these players not stretch? It's not that. It's what Kyle Shanahan said yesterday. Like, these are very fast big men who have a lot of explosive G-forces in their tendons when they run. Think about it. Like, you can get really big like Kittle and Deebo and be 215, 250, running 4.4s, 4.5s, but your tendons and ligaments don't get bigger and stronger. So those people just put more stress on those body parts than, someone like Marquise Goodwin, who runs a 4.3 at like 170, It's the way it is.
And
the way it is. And the accumulation of running over time with age, it's just going to happen. It comes for everyone.
Wear and tear. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I got to get down to Santa Clara. This was a bit of a quickie today, but we'll be back again in the future. Kev's got some time. Always looking forward to talking to you, man. How you doing? Good. This was a good show.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah. I'm glad to be here, brother. I appreciate you.
Final thing I got to ask you before we go. Buster Posey, Hall of Fame, yes or no?
You know what? Yeah, man. Why not, man? I'm saying, I like Buster, man. He's the only Buster I like is Buster Posey. You know what I'm saying? I like Buster.
What other Busters are there?
Posey. Buster Scrime, Buster Douglas. But yeah,
he was in the Niners for a minute this year. It's true.
Yeah, for like 15 minutes.
Kyle needs to get back to rotational running backs. It's strange that he's not doing that this year.
Who said that? Yeah, thank you. I mean, what's going on?
It's very strange. Yeah. I don't get it. Last one. Shreddy Murphy says, I think Trey will come in against Arizona if Jimmy struggles, or is Shenanigan going to make us take the L? I'm with you on that. I think we said this. If it's bad at halftime, I think we see Lance.
Man, you know what? I wouldn't put out the patch of the fact that, you know what, Trey did damn well against Arizona last time.
Right, because everyone knows what Trey looked like against Arizona.
You know
if it's worse than that,
so,
people are going to want to see him. Yep.
If I change the game plan, so I don't know though. It may or may not happen. But yes,
let's go tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. All right, the 49 Trey Lance was hurt, but the Niners held him out of that game for a lot of reasons. One, to get him 100% healthy, but two, so that if things went bad for Jimmy Garoppolo, as they did against Indianapolis in the rain, that there wouldn't be "We want Trey" chants on national television at home, because there were boos. They booed Kyle Shanahan off the field. So the Niners avoided that at home. We're not going to let that happen. But you know what? That could happen in this game.
Yeah.
That could happen the week after against the Rams. They're going to be on national television against the Rams, and Trey Lance is healthy right there. So the fans could start calling for it at halftime if they're down 10, 7. So, I mean, let's see what happens. If the fans want it and the Niners are losing, it's easy.
Exactly.
And there was that report from Rappaport saying, look, they wanted it to be like a Mahomes, Alex Smith situation, but it's not that. And they know they're going to have to give it over to – you remember this? Before, this was on Sunday.
Yeah, no. You do.
So the latest report is, look, the Niners are open to making the transition. And Jimmy basically has to keep showing that he's the best, that he keeps the Niners in contention. And as soon as the people lose confidence in that, whether it's his teammates, the fan base, all bets are off. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Kyle, give me a reason. You know what I'm saying?
So it seemed like Kyle was basically saying that to him before halftime. Hey man, I'm not benching you now, but you got 2 minutes, you got the ball.
You got one
Give
more
me a
time.
reason, baby. Don't make me bench you in front of your family. Don't make me do it. Because I'm crazy. I'll do it. Look at me. Look at my face. Tell me I won't do it. I don't care.
Man, I watched the show the other day, man, when you talking about the conversation they had on the sideline. You said, "Can you run this, man? Yes or no?" Because it's simple. It's simple stuff. The
quote that I heard was, "This is simple shit. Can you do this?" But again, I don't know if he was talking about the previous drive or what he wanted to do in the upcoming.
It don't matter. You talking?
It don't matter.
Starting quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like Mike wouldn't have talked that way to John Elway or Steve Young. Right. He would never have said those words. That's what he thinks. It's a simple shit. Can you do that? That's what he thinks of Jimmy Garoppolo. But again, honestly, that tells you what he thinks of Trey Lance too. The fact that Jimmy's playing over Trey and that's what he thinks of Jimmy. Oh, Kyle. Still searching for the one he loves. You know what I mean? He's like, you watch Seinfeld? Seinfeld just instantly dislikes every girl he starts dating for the pettiest reasons. That's Kyle. Every quarterback is like, well, it's got man hands. I just can't. It's got man hands. Right. Sorry. His laugh. I don't like his laugh. Yeah. I don't like his. All right.
Any little reason for it not to work.
Any little reason. I'm on to the next. And then when Tom Brady hits you up, like, let's do this, you're like, sorry, I got Jimmy. I'm sticking with Jimmy. Yeah. I don't like Jimmy, but I'm sticking with Jimmy. Oh,
I don't even want to get into that. Like,
imagine Kyle having Tom Brady and going up to him and saying, "This is simple shit. Can you do this?"
Hey, excuse me. Right? What?
Pardon?
Hey, man, listen, man. If I would have got that call about Tom Brady at Jimmy, we need to lock it, bro. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So right. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, but yeah, man. I thanks for having me on, Grant. Man, it's been a minute.
Okay. Yeah. This was great. Home. Yeah, we'll do it again soon. Thank you, everyone. I got to jet down to Santa Clara and see if Deebo Samuel's practicing today, among other things. All right, man. See you.